Hi, everybody. Today I want to talk briefly about an article that I wrote last year. And let me share my screen for the article. Yes, today's article is about corruption. And I wrote this article last year in June. The title of the article is New Zealand and Turkey Totally Different Corruption Levels. We know that corruption has been one of the major problems in third world countries, in Middle Eastern countries, and other, mainly autocrats or dictatorial regimes. In such countries, people, the citizens mostly suffer from high levels of corruption, and this also reflects on their, welfare standards, the lifestyles. And so, what is corruption, and why did I compare New Zealand and Turkey? They are totally different in terms of corruption. So, yes, this article was published in foreignpolicynews.org. And yes, first of all, I made a definition of corruption at the beginning of the article. According to World Bank, corruption is defined as the abuse of public office for private gain. Corruption has been seen as a primary impediment to growth with major consequences in the developing world. Corruption has a devastating impact on the poor population because it increases costs, reducing the access to services such as education, health, and justice. Studies show that unofficial payments for services can have a particularly pernicious impact on poor people. A World Bank report notes that every stolen or misdirected dollar, rupee or ruble, robs the poor of an unequal opportunity in life and prevents governments from investing in their human capital. So you can say that corruption also increases the gap between the poor and the rich people in a country. Corruption erodes trust in government and fuels violent extremism and conflicts. A report here, I made reference to transparency.org organization. According to a report published in January 2020, there are, in this report, there are 180 countries on a scale from 100, very close to zero, highly corrupt, based on the situation between May 2019 and May 2020. In the list, New Zealand, Denmark, Finland, Sweden, Singapore, and Switzerland are stated as the top 6 least corrupt countries in the world. But in this corruption perception index, Turkey holds 40 points out of 100 and ranks the 16th country out of 180 countries. So there are 180 countries analyzed for this index, and Turkey is, almost half in the half. But the other countries, there are lots of countries like the African countries, the Nigeria, or very, very small and underdeveloped countries. So Turkey has a really poor record in terms of corruption, we could say. I made reference to another report, the Risk and Compliance Portal's report published last year. And with regard to the report on Turkey, made by the Risk and Compliance Portal 2 years ago, a totally different picture is evident when compared to New Zealand. For example, with regard to legal mechanisms, the Turkish case has a good image. The criminal code criminalizes various forms of corrupt activity, but in terms of the practices, this is not very, valid. In Turkey, there are some rules, yes, but in practice, these rules are not working in Turkey. And on the official webpage of Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Turkey, it's noted that corruption is a threat for good governance, erodes confidence in and respect for democratic institutions, and emerges as an obstacle to the economic development. Yes, and unfortunately, Turkey's fight against corruption is not very effective. Also, the United States of America's Department of State explains this with the following words: while the law provides criminal penalties for conviction of official corruption, the government did not implement the law effectively, and some officials engaged in corrupt practices with impunity. So this was a report published 3 years ago by U.S. Department of State, and it can be found on the internet. And final remarks, I can say that societies which are managed by open minds and consciousness can only be operators of movements in this sense. So there's this, Atatürk saying, people should always vote towards high, clean, and holy goals. This is the way of action that satisfies the conscience and brain. So this holy goals, high and clean goals, means some, as the level that with low levels of high corruption. Of course, this makes reference to such a condition. And yes, today I tried to talk a little bit about this New Zealand and Turkey totally different corruption levels article. And also this article reached many audiences. In fact, I submitted this as a letter to the Academia Edu profile. Then, many other researchers sent me messages on academia, and they told me that they found this article really interesting. And today I tried to talk about this, and I hope to upload another video telling my other research in the near future. Thank you.